from Kiev, we are joined by Mr. Ivan Yuas, a senior advisor at the Ukrainian National Center. We thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Ivan. And let me here start by asking you to confirm the extent of damage caused by the Ukraine strike on the Boris Lebek's, I hope I'm reading it right, air base.
Greetings to you, Mona. Greetings to all the audience. Thank you for invitation. Actually, yes, Borisoglepsk. That is probably correct pronunciation of Russian airport where the Russian military fighter jets situated. So I think that it's one of many parts of our war. So of course, for Ukraine, it's very important to attack any means of air attack on our country. Because, you know, 2 days ago, we have, even not today, yesterday actually, it was the largest attack on city where I'm living, Kiev, where Russia sent 550 air attack vehicles. It's mainly drones, but rockets too. And of course, for Ukraine, it's one of the top target is to eliminate quantity of sources of sending such rockets. And Russian fighter jets, it's such kind of things that sending at least special corrective bombs that attack first of all territories not far away from front line, but it caused the large damages. That's why destroying each of that plane is important for us. And in Borisoglepsk, according to information that's available as of now, it was at least several types of such fighter jets situated, so-called Su-34, Su-35, Su-30, so many kinds of airplanes that constantly attack in Ukraine. So I think that in several days we received more information about that attacks, but the fact that we are in, you know, that sometimes it's a good joke that if you want to defend yourself from arrows, you should destroy the arrow man who sends the arrows. So Ukraine tried to do that. Ukraine tried to destroy those airplanes. Of course, Russia had large quantity of them, but not such large quantities that could not be destroyed that Ukraine tried to do. Thank you, Mana.
Right, Mr. Ivan, if I was correct in what I heard here, that you tried to defend yourself by striking, by counter-striking, right? Now, was the strike a strategic success or a symbolic message to both Russia and the West?
Of course, first of all, it's an attempt to decrease Russia quantity to attack Ukraine. That's why if you pay attention, if Russia when Russia attack Ukraine, it's mainly civil objects. For example, 2 hours ago, I visited a place in Kiev where Russia destroyed 9-level building. It was a residential building. A lot of people died there. And it's absolutely non-military target. As from Ukrainian side, we attacked either military targets or people connected to military area. So that's why it differs in philosophy of this war, that we try to destroy everything, not destroying Ukraine. So if Russian fighters attack Ukraine, or if Russian plants produce a weapon that destroy Ukraine, we try to destroy the plants, like happened approximately an hour or 2 hours ago in Russian city Cheboksary. It's part of Russia. There is a plant that produces some equipment for military areas. In Borisoglepsk, this aerodrome, actually Russia has the military fighter jets. It's not civilian one. It's very important. And as it caused problem to Ukraine, of course, Ukraine want to decrease the quantity of these fighter jets while they're in the airport, but not attacking us from the sky. Thank you.
Mr. Ivan, Russia's retaliation has been massive. Hundreds of drones were launched. Now, what's the situation now on the ground in Kiev?
You know, actually in Kiev, yes, it was large attack. As I said several hours ago, I visited several places that was seriously damaged by Russian rockets and drones, mainly drones because Russia sent 8 rockets and more than 500 drones. and when they hitting the residential building, it could cause even total destruction of this building, like it happened, and probably one of the first attempt to use those drones in the center of Kiev, where I'm living. So, of course, on the one hand, we understand that it's more and more dangerous thing, because according to our estimation, Russia theoretically, closer to the end of this year, sent more than 1,000 drones per one attack. That attack was 550 air attack vehicles. So it's but as I said, only eight of them it's rockets are the other drones. So of course, drones is a new chapter in this war. Furthermore, I think that using of drones is a new chapter in the global theory of war. So I think that war in Ukraine demonstrated the increasing role of drones. When having a lot of drones, you could achieve some results. But as for situation Kiev, everyone understands that yes, it's a problem, and everyone understands that we should work on the drones that will destroy the Russian drones. It's probably the easiest way, because not always you can destroy the drone from the air or from the land when it's attacking you from air.
Right.
But
So we're speaking here about enhancing your defense system, but this comes as the U.S. in air defense shipments, and definitely this postponement came at this very critical time now. How are Ukrainians or Ukrainian forces coping with that?
Mona, of course, Ukraine was in shock like our partners, but I have my own feeling that President Trump know that he will have a telephone talk with President Putin. And President Putin constantly repeats that U.S. should stop military aid to Ukraine. They do that since the 1st of July. And during the talk with Russian President Putin, President Trump says that, oh, we stopped those actually military aid to Ukraine. So now let's start deal for the end of this war. And Putin saying, no, I want to finish this war. For Donald Trump, it was shock. Pay attention. For the first time after talk with President Putin, Trump didn't say that it was a good conversation. He said that it was a bad talk for the first time. And that's why in Ukraine, on the one hand, of course, we understand that it's a big problem for us, this decision of US. But on the other hand, taking into account pressure inside the United States of America on Donald Trump from Republican Party and his representatives of this party, we think that in next week or so, it will be resumption of this program. Furthermore, sometimes we have a feeling that Donald Trump especially made the statement, as I said, for the first reason is to talk with President Putin, but second, to make a pressure on European partners that Europe should spend more money. It's Trump philosophy that it's war happening in Europe. It means that European countries should do more. And in that situation, probably we agree with Donald Trump. On the one hand, yes, we desperately need U.S. military aid, but on the other hand, we think that Europe should pay more attention on their military production, because U.S. should not be the only country helping to Ukraine. Of course, we're saying to every country that give military aid to Ukraine. Yes.
Zelensky's call with Trump raised more questions than answers, because it didn't give the about of this conversation. Now, what can you tell us about Kiev's interpretation of that conversation?
The conversation between President Zelensky and President Trump happened just after first talk between Donald Trump and President Putin.
Yes.
Several hours after that conversation, Russia sent that 450 air attack vehicles on Ukraine. So it was demonstration of the Russia lack of willingness to finish the war against Ukraine, and Russia will to win this war. And the talk between President Zelensky and President Trump, I wasn't sure that President Zelensky explained to Donald Trump that, you see, Russia don't need peace. Russian president may talk with you and give an order to make the hardest attack on Kiev since the beginning of full-scale war.
No, but I'm not speaking. Now I'm not speaking about the Russian position. I'm speaking now about the Ukrainian position and the call that went between President Trump and President Zelensky. So what were the abouts of that? What were the promises given by the United States? What the conversation was all about?
This conversation was about the returning to military aid from Yuas. The stopping of military aid, of course, a problem for Ukraine. That's why President Zelensky make a talk with Donald Trump, and they discuss not only resumption of the military aid to Ukraine, but the joint production of weapons, joint production of drones that will destroy Russian drones. That's why it was an interesting idea. Before that, actually, Ukraine signed the deal with Eric Schmidt. It's a former CEO of Google, then Alphabet company, one of the main IT company in the United States, and we actually signed a deal about production of drones. And President Zelensky and President Trump in this conversation about necessity to increase Ukrainian capability to destroy Russian air attack vehicles that every night, let's be frank, attack Ukraine.
But the Russian attack was in response to another Ukrainian attack, and this attack by Ukraine was inside the Russian territory. Now, are you not worried about the international reaction towards Ukraine expanding the range, particularly that you're saying that Russia is the one who wants war?
Yes, Mona, but first of all, Russia started at first war in 2014 when they annexed Ukrainian peninsula Crimea and annexed the city of Donetsk and Lugansk and some territory situated near those big cities. And on the 24th of February 2022, Russia started full-scale war. That's why when Russia said that we make something in response, Russia started this war. Russia was the initiator of this war. If Russia didn't start this war, nothing happened. And that's why for Ukraine, it's always funny when Russia said, oh, we do that because Ukraine do something. Ukraine do that because you start war. That's the main explanation. That's why, of course, war is war. And in any war, you have constantly attacks on different objects from both sides. As I said, Ukraine tried to attack military objects. Russia, of course, tried to attack military, but attack civilians too. I think that in Kiev, those residential buildings, not only in Kiev, in Sumy, in Kryvyi Rih, in Dnipro, several days ago, Russia launched 6 rockets on Dnipro, the city, murdering approximately 30 persons there. So in Kryvyi Rih, Russia made a direct rocket strike on the children's playground. So that's why in Ukraine it's clear that Russian target is to destroy Ukraine. As officially Russia said, denazification. In Ukraine, under denazification, we understand the elimination of Ukrainian nation as a whole. So they want to eliminate whole Ukrainians. That's why they start this war. That's why it's one of the reasons of our resilience, why we still want to win this war, because when we understand that Russia want to win this war or want to finish with Ukraine as a country. And that's why
Mr. Ivan, if there is a will for peace, then it should be reciprocal, meaning that this tit for tat strikes all the time will never get parties together and will never get to peace. Anyway, remains to be seen here. We thank you, Mr. Ivan Yuas, for joining us from Kiev.